baik tu dia jadi mereka tahu रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
In the news tonight, Fiji-Asia trade partnership on the up. Passive action irritates PM. And nurses plot way for betterment.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Smith.
Asia is being touted as the new frontier for trade and investment. Pacific Island Forum trade officials met this morning to set agenda for regional ministers who will discuss the future of various regional and international agreements. Edwin Nund reports.
Regional ministers will be making big decisions on trade agreements, but it's obvious that Fiji sees the potential of the Asian market.
We need to harness the opportunities presented by other regions, such as the Asian region. In fact, the center of global economic gravity is fast moving towards the Asia-Pacific region.
Negotiations over the economic partnership agreement with the European Union have stalled for years. Fiji wants fresh talks, but only if the EU treats the Pacific as equals.
The EU has been a crucial development partner for the region. However, they have also taken harmful unilateral actions in declaring some of our tax jurisdictions unfavorable and some of our fisheries unsustainable.
Ali adds that Pacific economies need to band together under the Pacific Island countries' trade agreement, which to date only has a handful of signatories.
The state of our PICTA bears a direct correlation to the state of our regional integration and to the state of this grouping. So colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot afford to let PICTA fail.
Trade ministers will also discuss ways to fend off the economic impacts of the US-China trade war and the coronavirus outbreak. Edwin Nund, FBC News.
Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama has stated that in the midst of the climate crisis, some world leaders are sitting passively. Speaking at the Urban Culture and Climate Change Action Summit in Abu Dhabi, Bainimarama says some leaders are willfully ignoring the devastating impact of climate change to small island nations. Ali Kimbia with the story.
Not mincing his words, Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama says the world must act now before it's too late.
I want you to take that message to heart in the midst of climate crisis, that there are far too many so-called leaders in the world who are sitting passively as we sail, willfully ignoring the holes in our sinking canoe. With their vast resources and innovation, they have the ability to bail water, but instead, they're just enjoying the view. But for the sake of our future, we need to start bailing now.
Bainimarama says rather than allowing climate change to reshape our cultures, we must work together and use our cultures to reshape climate change.
I hope this expression of Fijian heritage would inspire nations of the world to look to each other and look at each other not as separate states defined by borders, but as a common people with a common fate. But after a number of disappointing outcomes from recent climate negotiations, mostly notably COP25 in Madrid,
the PM is hoping that world leaders broaden their perspective on climate change and have a renewed sense of urgency to act. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
Police Commissioner Brigadier General Sithiven Ngilio has told the Internal Affairs Director to investigate the conduct of an officer while dealing with the bus driver. This comes after a video circulating on social media showed the officer in civilian clothing without first identifying himself as a police officer, demanding the driver show him his driver's license. The video also recorded another officer in uniform demanding the driver get off the bus and then manhandling the driver when he refuses. In a statement, Ngilio says the officer could have handled the situation better to defuse what was becoming a difficult situation when the driver refused to hand over his license after repeated requests. He adds the bus driver's refusal to cooperate was inconveniencing other road traffic when he refused to move his bus from its location, which was blocking the road. The Commissioner says in this case, the driver was charged with failure to produce a driver's license. The Melanesian Spearhead Group have stated that changes will be done within the framework of the program and budget of the MSG. Director General Amena Yavoli made the statement as senior officials concluded their meeting today with their recommendations to be tabled at the MSG Ministers' meeting tomorrow. Ali Kimbia with the story.
Consolidating recommendations is vital. The MSG Director General says changes will be done within the mandate of the MSG.
The changes will be done within the framework of the work program and budget to ensure that we live within our means, that we deliver in accordance with the mandates of leaders. Mandates, I'm emphasizing mandates. The Secretary can only operate on mandates only. Anything that does not have a mandate, we cannot touch that.
Senior officials attending the Melanesian Spearhead Group meeting have been reminded of their roles in enabling development for the Melanesian sub-region. MSG Chair Barbara Age says recommendations will be determined by the ministers' meeting tomorrow.
We've also discussed a number of issues on major activities undertaken by the organization in the last year or two, and of course this will be presented as reports to our ministers.
Senior officials of the MSG will leverage active participation and support for the strategic action plans in taking the MSG Secretariat to greater heights. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
Nursing issues are being discussed in depth in Nandi this week, with those from the noble profession plotting ideas to move forward. The inaugural Pacific Heads of Nursing meeting started today, which is being used as a platform for nurses around the region to discuss pressing issues and also learn of each other. Details with Felipe Naikaso.
Health workforce, health emergencies, NCDs and nursing regulations are some of the main objectives of the meeting that will be reviewed and discussed by these heads of nursing.
We also will be looking at health emergencies. We know we've been talking about the measles outbreak in Samoa. There was also an outbreak of dengue fever up in the Northern Pacific, and in RMI, and now the coronavirus. So nurses will be here to discuss on how to prepare them better and what things do they need to help protect not only themselves, but most importantly as well, the public out there.
The meeting will also be a platform for nurses around the region to discuss daily issues, at the same time learn from each other.
We don't have a good distribution of our health workers for the people that they serve out there. So we do need a lot of nurses out there who are in the forefront to deliver health services.
It is a very important meeting for us, especially nursing in Fiji. We are wanting to specialize in certain areas, and this is an opportunity for us in seeing where we can get some of our partners to assist us in the specialization of our nursing in Fiji.
The role of the Pacific Heads of Nursing is to provide executive-level oversight for regional nursing functions in the Pacific, including a policy advisory. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
Up ahead, Fiji feeling impact of children's heart disease. An agriculture census enters day 2. Details after the break.
Nadang bawa prosesan kerja, gor keraki, do televisi na barong na Radio Fiji 1, nandomo ibiti.
Radio Fiji 1, nandomo ibiti.
Congenital heart disease is the most common birth defect in the world, and Fiji records 200 annually. The Sai Prema Foundation says congenital heart defects affect about 1 in every 100 babies. Koroi Tandalala reports the foundation is currently building the South Pacific's first children's heart hospital, which will provide free surgery for children with the disease.
Marking Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week, the Sai Prema Foundation highlights that more work is needed in identifying children and patients with the abnormality.
In Fiji, we have about 200 children being born every year with congenital heart defects. And in the South Pacific region, we have about 2,500 children being born every year with congenital heart defects. So they are the commonest birth defect in the world.
Over the last 3 years, the foundation has facilitated 71 free surgeries for children with congenital heart disease, saving poor and underprivileged families in excess of $7 million.
With Gift of Life International, we are looking at coming in here and providing some help as well. And we have gone to 42 countries around the world. We've done over 40,000 children their heart surgery, free of cost. We don't ask for any money.
The Cyprema Foundation, in collaboration with the Gift of Life Foundation, will be performing free surgeries to patients with congenital heart defects in the country.
I'm excited to be here, to take a look at this hospital, to help out where I can, and I am excited for when the first surgeries will take place. And this is a gem, this is a diamond within Fiji.
Twice as many children die from congenital heart defects than from all childhood cancers combined.
The foundation aims to build capacity and establish a local team by sending Fijian health professionals for training to its sister hospital in India. The intention is that they will return to look after the needs of our children in Fiji and the South Pacific in the future. Kroy Tandulala, FBC News.
Rights come with responsibility, and parents need to instill this into their children, says Fiji Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission Officer Laisiasa Rongoyawa. Speaking at an outreach on human rights in Lambasa, Rongoyawa says most times children overstep the rights boundaries and do not take into consideration their responsibilities.
The rights of a child has fast become one of the most important components of the modern-day society. According to the Fiji Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission, children nowadays defend their behavior with rights and in the process completely ignore their responsibility.
Sometimes they're the ones who causing a lot of chaos in schools now because they say, "Oh, my right. I used to do this at home and it's a right for me to do in school." No, it's a totally different environment altogether. When our kids enter the school premises, their right is there, and the only right to practice there is the right to education only, full stop. The responsibility is for them to follow the rules of the school.
According to Community Policing Officer Inspector Vidya Pillay, teaching children their responsibility starts from home.
If the school says you have to cut your hair in this manner, that becomes your responsibility. Rights is there, but it becomes your responsibility. These are some of the things where we also face difficulties.
The outreach on human rights comes under the Access to Justice project, a joint initiative between the European Union, Fiji's Judicial Department, the Legal Aid Commission and the UNDP, aimed at empowering vulnerable groups to access legal rights and services.
What we are targeting is that each and individual should be knowing their rights, and also what are the relevant authorities that we can consider in terms of their rights.
This is the first time the program has been undertaken in Bonolebu and was held at Buniduidui outside Lambasa town.
It is a very great help to us, and we know plenty of the things which we didn't know about it.
Established in 2016, the European-funded UN project has been working to improve Fiji's justice system and the experiences of people exposed to it. Eleanor Turangaiviu, FBC News.
In the Central Division, around 20,336 households have been earmarked to participate in the 2020 Fiji Agriculture Census. Principal Agriculture Officer for the Central Division, Tepola Seniloli, says they're pulling out all stops to make their target, with enumerators expected to count 10 households daily. Maggie Boyle reports.
Day 2 of the agriculture census and the enumerators have their work cut out.
They're expected in their training, they're expected to cover about 10 households per day.
With close to 400 questions on the census form, ministry officials maintain there's a work plan in place to meet the targets.
So for us, our programs that they've put up, which we have confirmed for this week, it's 6 days in the week, so from Monday to Saturday. For enumerators, they're told it's flexi hours for them, and even for our field supervisor.
Out in the field, the work is progressing well.
So 2 field supervisor and 9 enumerator. From that 9 enumerator, we have given them the target to complete 13 households by end of the day.
It's been 10 years since the last agriculture census was held. This year's focus is the most comprehensive yet, covering crops, livestock, fisheries and forestry. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The coronavirus death toll has now passed 1,000, with the number of confirmed cases continuing to rise globally. In China, people were set to return to work this week, but businesses across the country remain shut to contain the spread of the virus. And it's business time now with Kelly.
Thanks, Jackie. Coming up after the break. New prices for LPG products from tomorrow. And in growing Fiji, offers plans for human rights body. Stay with us.
My name is Neha and I'm from Karavi. And Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Leading business prices of LPG products will increase from tomorrow. The Fijian Competition and Consumer Commission says new prices were determined following an intensive review. The 4.5 kg cylinder will cost $13.88 from $12.97, an increase of 91 cents. 12 kg cylinder will sell at $37.02 from $34.58, an increase of $2.44. The 13 kg cylinder, which currently sells at $37.46, will be sold at $40.11, an increase of $2.65. The bulk per kg will increase to $2.62 from $2.42, an increase of 19 cents. Auto gas per litre will also increase to $1.76 from $1.63, an increase of 13 cents. FCCC Chief Executive Joel Abraham says Fiji is directly impacted by world market prices for both refined oils and LPG. We now join Sinifa from HFC Bank with the latest from the stock market.
Let's look at the forex market today. The US dollar and Japanese yen were in demand today, along with the bonds of both countries, as worries about the spread of coronavirus had investors heading for safe harbors. China's central bank has moved to support the economy by cutting interest rates and flushing the market with liquidity. Meanwhile, a closely watched measure of Australian business conditions showed activity stayed uninspired in January, though confidence lifted slightly. One area of worry was the employment index, which fell 3 points to just +1 in January, implying slower employment growth. In overall terms, this survey continues to suggest very little to no growth in the private sector. The Reserve Bank of Australia kept rates unchanged last week at its first meeting of the year and signaled steady policy in the period ahead. That's all for now from HFC Bank, Vinaka.
Vinaka Sinifa here. Today's exchange rates as set this morning. The Sanghamoli showed strength against the New Zealand dollar, the euro and the Japanese yen today as concern about the coronavirus continues to affect the markets. Our dollar showed small declines against the other currencies we cover. Commodities today were mixed. Crude oil dropped a few cents to remain just above $50 per barrel. Gold fell to $1,567 per ounce and silver closed up at $17.74 an ounce. In growing Fiji, the Fiji Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission aims to expand its reach by providing timely service to all Fijians. Director Ashwin Raj says the commission will soon widen its service across the country with the new office in Lautoka. He adds there are plans to become an accredited human rights institution by next year.
We will have an office open in Lautoka soon, so that's another milestone for the Commission. And, early next year, the Commission will go up for consideration as an accredited national human rights institution.
That's it from Business Tonight. Jamie joins you now with the latest from sports.
Thanks, Kelly, and good evening. Coming up, game time essential for Silktail's preparations. And Takayawa impresses in Paris. This and more after the break.
Mulai
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
KVT Silktails head coach Brandon Costin says trial games before the Ron Massey Cup next month is essential for the team. And while they've been able to play matches against local clubs, playing PNG side Hello Wigman in the curtain raiser for the Melanesian Cup is a great opportunity to test the team. Tali Materkula has more.
Costin says having test matches will help put their players' combination to a test before they head into the Ron Massey Cup competition.
At the moment, the New South Wales teams are playing trial games against each other. So different New South Wales-based sides are playing against each other. So they're getting a feel for each other early in the season. We won't have that opportunity because it's too expensive for New South Wales teams to travel here. So we're going to have some trial games against local Vodafone Cup sides. But I think we already know the ability of those local Vodafone Cup sides. So we need someone that can maybe spring a bit of a surprise against us, and that's what that PNG side will provide us. We're not sure what they're going to bring, so we're going to have to prepare really well for the unknown.
With strength and fitness being their main area of focus, he adds maintaining the discipline of players is just as important.
They have to learn discipline at training, They're required to be on time, which requires discipline. So if you practice at training, I think it makes the transition into game far easier. And trust me, we will never ever lose a game through ill discipline.
The Silktails will play Papua New Guinea club Hello Wigman on February 29th to build up on their Ron Massey Cup season's opener against the Windsor Wolves on the 14th of next month at Churchill Park in Lautoka. Talima Terkula, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Warriors upping the tempo ahead of the Pacific Challenge. Bearing the scorching heat, Coach Kelele Awere says all teams will be going into the competition with a winning mentality, but it will all come down to thorough training and preparation. The Warriors are still training together as an extended squad, with the final 28 players expected to be named next week.
They've been training on their own, so now we've trying to bring them in to gel as a team, to know each other, to try and learn how each other play. So it's important that they do their own training at the same time they come in and start putting things in place together as a team.
The Fiji Rugby Union Development Unit is working towards creating a new development model for Kachi rugby in the country. This is part of their law modification clinics where they plan to implement new rules in Kachi rugby. FRU Development Manager Koli Siwambu believes it's important to tailor-make development programs at grassroots level. This will allow kids to be more familiar with the rules as they progress in rugby.
It's the under 11. It's a progressive non-take competition that we're trialing out. So today is all about trying out to see what numbers we're going to implement and what sort of skill sets we will be focusing on in this age category, because come under 12 they will be progressing into the contact version of the game.
Olympics hopeful Tevita Takayawa got off to a good start at the Paris Grand Slam, winning his first contest against Greece's Yorgos Maliropoulos at the Palais Omnisports, the Paris-Bercy in Paris. Takayawa has earned himself 100 Olympic points after a successful first round in the under 100 kilogram division. He lost in the second round against world top judoka Michael Correll with a few more rounds to go. Local judo coach Nemani Kavuru says Takayawa has a good chance of making it to the Olympics with his current form.
Judo championship. Evita did very well in the first round, throwing Greece for a uniform, which is a beautiful throw. And we've noticed that his competition is getting more confident, and we definitely think he'll be able to make it to the Olympics.
This weekend's NBA All-Star Game is expected to be flooded with tributes to the late Kobe Bryant, as well as the usual megastars strutting their stuff. And right in the thick of it will be two Kiwi teenagers invited to play in Chicago by the NBA, all expenses paid. In our play of the day, we look at action from the Bushfire Bash cricket fundraiser over the weekend, where cricket stars and a number of celebrity sports icons came together to help raise much-needed funds for the victims of the devastating Australian bushfires. While the teams were packed with retired stars, they put on a great show for those in attendance. That's it from sports tonight. Penisa joins you with weather later on, and in new media, tips on what profile pic gets the most attention on social media sites. Details coming up.
We love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Panisa joins us now with the latest from weather.
Well, the day was gorgeous with unlimited sunshine throughout the nation. We could use some rain anytime soon. Now checking the west out for today, sunshine was in abundance. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, temperatures felt like 36 degrees, but it was just at 32. And up north, more sun beaming through. At sea, southeast winds 20 to 25 knots and rough seas. For the tides, high tide at 8:16 p.m. with low tide at 2:38 a.m. Sunrise at 5:58. For tomorrow, another wonderful sunny day in store. It looks like the week will be clear, just saying for now. Tomorrow's temps, it's always the west, and this time it's the west that will take the credit of being the warmest at 32 degrees. Looking further on Thursday, more fine spells with nice breezes. Enjoy while you can. That's all the weather news from my end. It's back to Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Apanisa. In Fiji and Pulse, we asked, is the current level of humidity being experienced different than before?
Really hot. So hot. I almost can't even breathe in my clothes, but then it's hot. It's really hot over here, and it's burning a little bit.
It's good and it's calm.
The weather out here in Fiji, sunny Suva, is very, very hot. I'm melting, and I would love an ice block.
A lot more humid than it was when I was here 40 years ago, in my honeymoon, but it's still just a beautiful area.
Weather for the cyclone.
In the world of the weird and the wonderful, are you a workout freak? What happens when you are sick? Is it still okay to hit the gym? Recapping the main stories for tonight, Fiji-Asia Trade Partnership on the up, passive action irritates PM, and police officer under investigation. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question we're asking: are you happy with the bus fare increase which has come into effect? Visit our FBC website to answer. And our shot of the day is from a happy day for one of our own. FBC journalist Kritika Kumar tied the knot over the weekend with longtime partner Ashnil Kumar. And we here at FBC wish both of them many blessings on their new journey. And you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News, our Twitter page at FBC_news, or hashtag FBC News. That was the FBC News for tonight. From the team and I, stay safe. Good night.
We love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.